And now, the KHMB Feature Story of the Week. A look at people and events making a difference on the Coastside.
The KHMB Feature Story of the Week is brought to you by the all-new Granola's Coffee House, located on Highway 1 next to BK Motors in Half Moon Bay. Granola's Coffee House, featuring specialty coffees, fresh baked goods, and free Wi-Fi.
Hello, Coastsiders. This is Jim Holley with Coastside Radio, bringing you another interview with somebody making a difference on the Coastside. Now, I'm not sure exactly which week this is in the SIP program or the Shelter-in-Place program, but it began somewhere around March 15th, and with some minor adjustments, it's continued today. And many people on the Coastside and organizations have been responding to help people get through it. Recently, I heard about our Chamber of Commerce and the fact that they've been doing a great deal. So I've invited Krystlyn Giedt, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, to tell us all about their efforts. I've been reading some materials that indicate that the Chamber has really been busy helping businesses and the community generally navigate this COVID-19 pandemic. And I'm just wondering, what's been your motivation to be so active and take such a leadership role?
Well, that's the number one function of the Chamber. It used to be back in the early days when Chambers started that it was a group of business folks who had problems and needed to solve them. And so we continue with that mission today. Our Chamber started in 1963, so we want to hold true to our roots and really help the businesses through any time. This just happens to be a particularly hard time. But our efforts are almost the same all year round, every year.
For you, this is just business as usual, huh? And in a way.
Yes. So what we're doing, advocacy, marketing, that's all kind of normal business. It is heavily ramped up right now because there's so much information to get out to our businesses and vet and make sure that it's the good, right stuff. But the core activities are the same.
Now, where do you get your information, and how do you validate that, hey, this is the gospel truth here?
Get our information from many different associations that we've had long-standing partnerships. So information comes from the Small Business Association, SAMCETA, which is the San Mateo Economic Development Association, the county itself, as well as our other chambers that we are in constant communication with throughout San Mateo, the state, and even our western states. And we also belong to California Chamber and some travel industry associations. So they all constantly send us information, and then we're going through it and making sure that we pull out the parts that make sense for our community. We don't want to bog anybody down with the information that doesn't make sense for them. But most of the information is coming from trusted, long-standing partners.
I also understand that you've put together a special website for this activity. Could you tell us about that?
Well, we have a section of the Visit Half Moon Bay website that's dedicated to business and the Chamber of Commerce, and we morphed it the day that we learned that the shelter-in-place was going to take effect. We instantaneously knew that we needed to create a place to allow our community members and our business community to access information when they were ready. So we turned our homepage into a running list of businesses that were still operating and how they were operating in the pandemic and the shelter in place. And then we also created a separate page for our businesses to learn about the funding resources and kind of any tidbits that we were picking up that they could use for themselves.
Are any of our businesses receiving support, financial support from the government?
Thankfully, yes. So when I was originally asked that question from the Half Moon Bay Review almost 3 weeks to a month ago, I had not heard of a single person receiving any funding, which was quite distressing. Since then, I hear about once to twice a day about a business receiving some sort of support through one of the many funding sources. So that is super good news.
It certainly is. And is the amount of money they're receiving going to make a difference, or is this just maybe help them through another couple of days?
From From what I have been told, they are amounts that will be of very big help to them. A lot of it is coming from the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, from the Small Business Association, and that was geared specifically towards helping keep employees and keeping payroll going, which for most businesses is their largest expense. So it has been very, very helpful because now that they could have some help paying their employees for a couple of weeks, that allowed them to also use any other funds that they had to pay bills. So they are wiping sweat off the brow.
Despite the fact that they're not active, are still able to support some employees. Is that accurate?
Yes,
all right.
Thankfully so.
No, that's sound. Yeah, thankfully so for many. Let me ask you another question. You know, we hear about all these networking, social networking groups, these media groups like Instagram and Nextdoor and LinkedIn. And are those guys helping you out or a source of data or?
Yes. So one of the things that the shelter-in-place definitely ramped up was people's online usage. And so social media is kind of going through the roof right now because so many people have time to peruse it. So we have used Instagram and Facebook and Nextdoor and other platforms to help bring awareness to our businesses, and we started a social media campaign called Support Local, very on the nose, and we highlight a different business every day, and we've received really, really great results and shares over that campaign, which is amazing.
You're receiving information or phone calls or questions from employees who might not have businesses?
We do not receive too many phone calls from employees. Mainly it's from the businesses that want to support those employees.
Uh-huh.
But I have been told that our local nonprofits that do support employees and helping them find funding and get through these tough times have been inundated from employee calls, and it's from my understanding, they have been doing a stellar job in helping them any way that they can.
Yeah, I think they're doing some fantastic work.
This has really been a time where everybody has gotten together, supported one another, both from the residential community all the way through to the business community, and it's the most heartwarming stories are coming out of this and innovations, and it's truly beautiful.
Oh, that yes. I've heard a few myself, and it is fantastic. Speaking of which, has the Chamber been able to loop into any of the activities of some of the community support groups that are so active in distributing food and some additional monies?
We have popped in where we can. I myself have been volunteering my time with Table of Plenty, and that allows me to bring some food to seniors, which I love and is close to my heart. And then the Chamber has been in close communications with senior Coastsiders, Coside Hope, and Puente, and a bunch of our other nonprofits, and supporting them in any way that we can, whether that's trying to get them masks or letting them know about funding opportunities that might be able to help them, whatever it is that we can help with.
So you're reaching not only out to the business community, but also to the social welfare activities, I guess we might call it, as well. I heard something about a program called Coside Marketing.
Yes, the Chamber is spearheading a economic recovery marketing campaign, lovingly called The Coast is Clear to Do Business, and that is going to be a marketing campaign that we have partnered with the City of Half Moon Bay, Mid-Coast Community Council, Pescadero Municipal Advisory Council, the Half Moon Bay Downtown Association, and the Half Moon Bay Business Improvement District. We're all coming together to put together some digital marketing, some banners for the highways, and some signage for our businesses to help let people know when they are able to go into those businesses and start helping them recover from this.
If somebody in the audience would like to get a hold of you and get some additional information, how could they go about that?
The best is to call our office. I do monitor the voice machine, and the number is 726-8380. And they can also find us online at HMB Coastside Chamber halfmoongieet.com. And most all of the information can be found there as well.
Okay. Krystlyn Giedt, Half Moon Bay, Coastside Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. I want to thank you for interviewing with Coastside Radio.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
Coastsiders, our community's been very much impacted by this COVID-19 pandemic. And like the Chamber and other organizations out there, everybody seems to have their oar in the water. And I think there's opportunities for you as well, especially if you'd like to help sort and box food for families or deliver food or several other activities. So I hope you give that some consideration. There certainly are lots of opportunities. This is Jim Holley with Coastside Radio. Thank you for listening.